let's be real for a moment. It is hotter than Hades out here. My car says 91, but I'm pretty sure it's actually like 94 and probably feels like 104. So we're gonna go out here and try to do some pickup shots for this YouTube video that I started back at like the beginning of May. See if we can get some things done today. Yeah. Can't see a darn thing. Anybody else with glasses like step out of their car and it's all fogged up? Anyway, so we are currently walking into the old marketplace. So Colonial Dorchester, first of all, is an 18th century town situated a bit north on the Ashley River. So the early settlers come up here and they decide to establish a town up from the city of Charleston. Once they settled this town, they put a gunpowder tabby fort here to protect the town's gunpowder in case anything from down in Charleston, the powder magazine down in Charleston, ever got attacked or whatever, then they would have a gunpowder storage upriver. So we're standing in the marketplace. This is where the people would have traded. There was some Indian trading, Native American trading going on here. They found a bunch of glass beads in certain areas. If you walk along the terrain here, it's kind of very bumpy, so you can definitely tell that there was a settlement here. We'll take a look at some of the areas. So that's the Colonial Marketplace. You're going to see a bunch of flashback shots in this particular video because I shot it over a long period of time in several instances, or several times that I came here to work on archaeology at the site. So I'm an archaeology volunteer here at Colonial Dorchester, and we have been working on Site 52 for several years now. So I came here to dig on the site and help recover some artifacts to help interpret this town a little bit better and tell the story of Colonial Dorchester and the people who once lived here. A little bit of the history of Site 52. So all of these home sites, you will see little pillars. You can see one probably, it's like right there. Right there. Mark off where a homestead once was or a house once was. And this site, Site 52, was the home of Joseph Blake. Joseph Blake lived here, and we have been trying to figure out what exactly he was doing in Colonial Dorchester. We believe this site right here is a kitchen house because there was a hearth. If I'm incorrect about it being a kitchen house, then I will change it right down below so I don't get it incorrect. But if I'm remembering correctly, it's a kitchen house because we found kettle, like parts of a kettle, there were a ton of animal bones found in there. And a bunch of other artifacts, a bunch of ceramics were found there, stuff that you would see in a typical kitchen house. And that's another area. I was actually digging on this spot, right outside of this spot, kind of recently. And I'll take you over there in a minute. This is our archaeological dig. This is Site 52. And what we're finding here, this looks like a foundation. A brick foundation. If you look through here, it continues on. It probably still continues on. It's probably under there as well. So as you know, a house or a building will have 4 corners. So you find the 4 corners first. You dig on that. And then everything else should be located inside of it, like the hearths and stuff. So if that's the corner here, this might be a hearth, if that's the middle. I don't know. Anyway, we are digging today, and I will show you more of the site. Foundation going here. that way, in that other area over there.
Yes, it sounds familiar. Yeah, it sounds familiar. I think I've seen like it on Facebook like training. That's another thing. The whole metal detecting over there. When I get over there, I'm definitely going to be networking with people on trying to get some permission because you can metal detect.
I picked kind of a starting point, so I'm going to start at this corner.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, and then you just use it to cut away very small amounts of soil at a time. And I'm just going to scrape it away from me. When you get some soil collected,
you put it in the,
we got different scoopers, different types of scoopers, dustpans. You know, you get it into your dustpan, put it in your bucket.
Okay.
And that's about it. As long as you remember which bucket, as long as you remember which unit your soil's coming out of, and don't start mixing. Like if you're working there and I'm working here, we don't want to accidentally start putting our stuff into the same bucket.
A versus B,
Right. Yeah. So just remembering, kind of like, we have so many buckets, just to hit this is my bucket.
Yep.
And that's about it. So when I come across like these bricks, I'm never gonna go in like this. My goal is not to get this out of the ground. My goal is just to remove the soil around it.
Expose it.
Slowly to expose it, exactly.
Okay.
So again, this area got deeper here because those kids, they wanted that brick out of the ground. But if we go gouging out the bricks, we're never gonna find intact features like that foundation.
Yeah.
Because those bricks would have been pulled out of place
before
we even revealed. And archaeology is destructive. Once it's gone, it is not coming back.
Nope.
We can sneak it back.
So you can grab your trowel. I will give you this.
Thank you.
And if you want to just kind of start getting comfortable with the trowel, that's really what today is about.
At some point, the goal would be getting this
correct
at least down to there. At some point.
That would be the primary goal. Be getting that whole corner down to here and eventually all. And that's for some charcoal specks. It's definitely darker in here than over here, but it's all kind of speckled. So I would be a little bit more cautious working in that area.
Okay.
But I wouldn't stop.
Okay. So I uncovered this little area right here where there's like little charcoal specks, and one thing in archaeology is you want to always pay attention to the changes in the soil and how the soil is changing, because that definitely helps to interpret the site. So then we take some of that and then we'll put it against the Munsell chart over there to see what color the soil is.
All right.
So we have a standard datum point, and ours for this site is that little wooden log.
Oh,
so everything is measured below that datum point, so that it's standardized versus if we took measurements from just the ground level, it would vary across the site.
So it's from the top of that post.
Right, and we use a laser level.
Okay. All right.
Once we have our starting elevations, though, we can take elevations from here, our ground level, because now we know what the difference between the datum and the ground level is.
The difference.
Right, we know the difference.
Oh,
so from now on, we can take our levels from our ground surface to the depth. We just, as long as it's noted, below datum or below ground surface.
So these are the GPR points right here. Or GPS. GPS points.
So recovery method, that'll be our troweling, 1/4 inch screen. There's its Munsell, what kind of soil we're working in. Just general observations, but every level has this.
Okay.
And then some charcoal specks. It's definitely darker in here than over here, but it's all kind of speckled. So I would be a little bit more cautious working in that area.
Okay.
But I wouldn't stop.
Okay. So I uncovered this little area right here where there's like little charcoal specks, and one thing in archaeology is you want to always pay attention to the changes in the soil and how the soil is changing, because that definitely helps to interpret the site. So then we take some of that and then we'll put it against the Munsell chart over there to see what color the soil is. The part of the documentation process is once we are done clearing off bits of soil, you put a north arrow, that's acting as our north arrow right now, and take pictures. So you see which way is north and kind of like your spatial orientation. So this wooden post over here is our datum point. Come over here, she is measuring now how far down we have gone. On that little strip of tape right there, we have our GPS coordinates. So we know exactly where this is, and everything gets documented. Documentation is one of the most important things in this field of archaeology and historic preservation too, in general. This is a Munsell soil chart. So archaeologists, a bunch of different fields use this actually, and they match up the color of the soil, which also helps with interpretation of the site.
I'll pay you. Yeah, you can use my picture if anybody sees me. If I didn't know that guy was still alive.
So we're taking it down 10 centimeters, and everything within that 10 centimeters is being put in the buckets. And all of that's getting cataloged. And it means something. We'll figure out what it means at some point.
At a later date.
Yeah. You see the charcoal. It's always important to document the soil changes. We have charcoal showing up here, and then it gets a little bit lighter here, and then it looks like there's more showing up here. So this is a hand-forged nail. I talk about this all the time, that we pulled out of this unit right here. You can tell it's hand-forged. It's a rose head. I find these things interesting, but other people might not. I don't know. There might be like clay pipe stems down in there. We found a lot of like pearlware and stuff like that.
We find a lot of pipe stems. We find some pearlware, but that's a little bit actually later in time. We're looking at a little bit earlier. We find more creamwares.
Creamware, okay. See, I'm not well versed on the different wares. I need a book.
I wasn't before I started here.
Oh, really?
I'm becoming intimately familiar with the different wares.
Should we throw that in that bucket, or?
I didn't even bring out a bag. That's about archaeologist.
Okay.
So we're gonna put it in this. That maybe 7 centimeters.
Okay, so
you've still got a way to go. But yep, I would just work my way this way.
Okay.
Exactly what you're doing.
Okay.
So what we do is we take the dirt, put it in a bucket, and then we take it to the screen, and then pull out whatever artifacts you find.
And I figured we'd just go until we've got a bucket full, and then we'll screen.
Okay. And then we'll
I'll show
screen.
you the lab, and that, you know, at least this way, we've got a brief.
The process, yeah.
The process.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, my other interest is kind of...
So we have the corners of the structure mapped out here, and we're thinking that the foundation runs all the way this way and probably through our trench here. And the corner is right there under that board. That's another corner. And then another corner.
Yeah.
So clay, this is a clay pipe stem dug out of trench. Is that A or B?
B.
B.
That one's B. So, it's pretty neat. So
Very
clay
cool.
pipe stem. Okay, so
A lot of gear to
we
get
found
out
bottle
here.
glass, and Mark here found it, and he was gonna bury it for me so that I could find it. so I would feel special. Awesome. Thank you.
See, one trick is if you leave a little early, you don't have to help put that stuff up.
All right, so I'm leaving all that now. I'm not touching this.
Perfect. Wine bottle glass.
No, I'm not.
Well, John, you're standing in the sun. Come back into the tent.
That's when you're really bad off.
Here is the piece of Delft that came out of this unit, and then that over there is some sort of ceramic that is stuck in the wall there, and we can't take it out because it's in this unit. We would have to open up another unit since everything has to be documented exactly where it's found. Okay, we are about to map this in. I think you're going to draw it, right?
Clipper, please.
Yeah. So I've got my unit, and I need to make sure that I am picking an orientation. So this is down my southwest corner.
Archaeology is all about documentation, as is historic preservation and architectural history. So we are documenting in this feature right now. See the dark. So this could mean something. She's drawing it.
What I need to do.
So we're gonna measure it. Okay, now we're going to sift this.
I was going to say, did you want one over here next to the
Sifting station.
If you want a picture.
So this is A.
Probably, yeah, I'll get one.
A, and that one's B.
Yeah, y'all are A.
Yay.
So just make sure.
So this is public archaeology, where they take volunteers. People can come out and do the sift screen and dig and learn exactly how archaeologists do their thing. Instead of just digging a hole, there's actual trenches with measurements and everything, and levels and centimeters and stuff, so we know by level what artifacts are found. So each level is a different interpretation, or the same interpretation if you get like the same thing at each level. And then everything's categorized. The provenience number.
Ceramics and stuff that we find. So as you're, looking through the screen, looking through the soil, this is the kind of stuff that you would anticipate finding.
Clay pipe stem.
Clay pipe, usually we find them in much smaller pieces.
Yeah.
But see, so that's some of that window glass that you found a small piece of, another nail.
Hand rotting.
We find a lot of this Staffordshire slipware and a lot of this Delftware.
That would have been on a fireplace. The Delft tile.
Would it? Yeah.
Yeah. Delft
That one
tile.
piece I found was smooth.
So that
Looked like
could
there was
have been
feathered
a
edges.
unglazed piece of the one that we thought maybe a brick or maybe
Yeah.
pottery. So that could have been something like just
Right.
a lead glazed coarse
yeah.
earthenware, or a non-glazed coarse earthenware, or it could have been a piece of a brick that just broke off really cleanly.
I've got some of those. Those come out of the ground all the time, and like.
And I saw someone on TikTok actually this morning making a really pretty piece of resin art with a bunch of pearl. England, most of this ceramic from England.
Imported, yeah.
China, Germany, Delftware would have been either English or Dutch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much everything being important.
That was in like a smaller shadow box at one point.
Was it?
Yeah, it was like in a smaller thing that was like put
Isolated
up here
thing.
on the wall. All the map. The old map. That's probably just a copy. It's not the original one.
Correct.
It's in an archive somewhere.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
That's a cast iron kettle. Those are the maps. Of course, not the original ones. Nails and stuff. Look at all that stuff. You guys are just going to have to get used to the glare if there's a glare on my glasses. But again, the marketplace. So there would have been structures here, trading going on, a bunch of exciting things happening in the marketplace in 18th century Colonial Dorchester. So we do know that some of the people who lived here were quite healthy, were quite wealthy. They were probably also healthy. But anyway, this has been set up, the signage here has been set up for interpretation. You can read it if you like, if there's too much glare. Go ahead and pause the video and read it. So this is your typical Georgian house. What you would see here at Colonial Dorchester. You also see them all up and down the eastern seaboard in the eastern United States. So this was set up to show you, after they dug on this site and they got all the artifacts and interpreted it and everything, to show you exactly how a Georgian house would have looked. You have your central hallway. You would probably go up a little stoop of stairs here and go inside of the house. You have a room on either side. You're in the central hallway. Go inside of the room, and this is your hearth. So it's your fire area. And a pass through there, maybe potentially a servant's pass through. This may have been the dining room. Yeah, I think it was a dining room. Over here, the parlor room. The parlor room in a Georgian style house would have been very high style. So this fireplace right here in this room would have been possibly had a crossette corners around the fireplace hearth. There would have been a cornice, a very elaborately decorated cornice if this is somebody who is quite wealthy. And that was meant to impress. So in our Georgian houses, also on into the federal period, these houses were built to impress people, impress the visitors who would come and see the house or visit with its occupants. In some of these houses, I don't know if it was specifically in this one, but in some Georgian houses on into the federal period, which is after the Georgian period here in the eastern part of the United States, you would get gold leaf on your cornices. So they would decorate these cornices rather high style with gold leafing, maybe even some bronze, and they would be very elaborate and made out of plaster to show off the craftsmanship and the skills of the people who were able to decorate these houses. So that was meant to impress your visitors and show your wealth, and to show people that you were able to afford all of those things. So coming out into the front hallway, this may have been a pantry. That little area there. And then we have a back room. So here we have our dining room here. And then another room here with the hearth. So they have interpreted this and they've done the archaeology. So you have your hearth, your fire on either side. It's also that way across the hallway. So that is your typical Georgian house. If I can get some good photographs of a Georgian house, I will put them into this video. So now we are going to walk over to the Tabby Fort if we don't die before we get there, because it is hot. It is hot, hot, hot. It's very hot. And I'm kind of melting. We got some shade going on my face, but we're going to be in some shadow here in a moment. Right behind me is the Tabby Fort, which defended the town's gunpowder. Tabby is a very fun and interesting material that the colonists used to build structures with. I want to tell you a little bit about Tabby. You notice in the wall here, you can see some seashells, and those are actually oyster shells. So oysters were a big thing here in the Low Country. Also, you know what? Look at that tree. Isn't it pretty with all the Spanish moss? Anyway, so going on about tabby. So there would have been like a metal gate here. And here in each of the corners of the fort, there would have been cannons for defense. And down there is the river. So they placed the tabby fort here, up here on the hill. Perfect defensive area to defend the town and the town's gunpowder storage. So, how tabby is made. Tabby is made out of burnt oyster shells. You would take the oyster shells. I've explained this in several of my other videos, but if you have not seen those other videos, I will tell you how it's made. Tabby is made from burnt oyster shells. You would take the oyster shells, you would burn them down to a powder, then you would add water. The water would create a chemical reaction. It would start to boil and burn on its own, and then you would add overabundance of water, some whole oyster shells or seashells, dirt, ash, whatever you have, to create some tensile strength in there, and then you would have your tabby. Okay, important thing to point out, if you see these lines in the walls here, so they would build kind of like a box, like a wooden box or whatever, as long as they would want the wall, and they would pour the tabby in and let it cure and dry. So that's evidence of that right there, where there was wood holding the tabby material in so it could dry. Whenever you are talking about a tabby structure or any kind of masonry type of structure from the 18th century and before, look for post holes. Those post holes are throughout the structure, and they held in the wooden forms in which the tabby was poured into. So that's evidence of, again, construction. And here is some wonderful interpretive signage. Go ahead and pause the video if you would like to read it. That is what I was explaining a moment ago. It's a gentleman pouring the tabby into the wooden form, and then they would build up the walls. I have to go and sit in my car every few minutes because it's far too hot, and the camera keeps shutting down. So we are going to try to wrap this up, continue working, and get some great shots of this area. This brick structure behind me, this is where the gunpowder was stored, like inside of this building here, and then the tabby fort surrounded it. Notable people that were stationed here, one I believe was Francis Marion. So Francis Marion is known as a swamp fox here in the Low Country. He fought in the American Revolution, and he was the purveyor of guerrilla warfare. He did not think that you should fight in how you would see in the movies, which is actually how they would fight historically, with one side coming towards the other. They would like meet in the middle and clash and fight and all that stuff. So he thought that that was not a good idea, that guerrilla warfare and attack, like ambush attacks, like ambush techniques were so much better than that. We have something interesting going on here. If they don't jump on me. Okay. I'm gonna try to show you these grasshoppers. Oh, look at that. What do you think they're doing? Are they making babies? Anyways. Look at those grasshoppers. He is looking right at me, and I really don't want him to jump on me because he's like massive. There's another one right there. Oh yeah, he's looking right at me. Look at how big he is. Oh, there's a few of them. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'll leave you alone. Now we are leaving. Ooh, oh, there's more of them. Look. Look at them. Look at the grasshoppers. Oh my goodness. Look at them. Oh my gosh. 3 of them. I wonder what's going on there. Alrighty. The fort. Like I was saying, we are leaving the Tabby Fort now, going down towards the river. Ooh, I gotta have my glasses on because I can't see without them. Far away. So, this wall fell out at one point in time. They don't know when or why. Actually, maybe they do. I don't know for sure. But I think I heard that they're not sure when that wall fell. But during the American Revolution, I believe that they would use the inside of the Tabby Fort for target practice. So on one of the sides and one of the walls you can see shot, like where they would shoot at the walls. So down here is the river. So we're going down kind of like an embankment down to the river. You see the water right there. This is the Ashley River, I think. Yep, Ashley. I was right. So this is the Ashley River down here. We're gonna keep heading on down towards the river. I am walking on down towards, I think I'm gonna go this way because there seems to be people over there. Towards the old Colonial Road. In front of the Colonial Road there was a bridge. The bridge spanned the river here. So travelers would come across the bridge up this road here, which we are headed to, and head up into the town to the marketplace to trade or whatever it is that their business was in town. So like I've mentioned in one of my other videos, the river is like right behind all of these palm fronds here. And typically you are very careful when you're walking by a river here in the low country because there could be alligators hiding and they ambush and drag you into the water, drown you, and then eat you. Sounds fun, doesn't it? Here we are. We're walking down the Colonial Road to the river, which is right here. So, like I said, people would come up this road here in their horse and carriage or just on their horse. They would come up this road in their horse and carriage or just on their horse. And they would continue on into the town. And above me we have beautiful oak trees, some of them draped in Spanish moss. So here you are seeing some of the raw beauty of the low country, since this area is really well preserved because of its historical and cultural influence to the United States. One very cool thing is that I am currently working with another lady to put the Ashley River National Historic District onto the make it a National Historic Landmark. So we are doing a bunch of research and going through old documents and everything to put this area to deem it as a National Historic Landmark, because a lot of stuff happened here in this area. Colonial Dorchester is part of the area that I am studying more in order to make it a National Historic Landmark. So I'm quite excited about that. And the Ashley River was an important waterway for that. You had trading going up and down the Ashley River. Ships would come up and bring people up to Colonial Dorchester. There were also a lot of enslaved individuals that were most likely in this town as well. So we look here at the river. I am looking carefully because I don't want to get eaten by an alligator. You can go kayaking here. There's a kayak launch a little bit downriver from here. You can go get your kayak if it's low tide. we might be able to see the remains of the old wharf. We should do that. Yeah, it's exciting if it's there. Okay, so you had your bridge that came across. If you imagine in your mind's eye here, wooden bridge coming across, and then the road leading up into the town. The Ashley River. The bridge would have spanned this area right here. Got your Spanish moss trees. Really quick before the device shuts off because it's hot, if you look down there, you see the wooden pillars. That is the remains of the old wharf from the 18th century. They have been preserved pretty well here in the mud, the pluff mud. So we get that a whole lot. Archaeologically speaking, we are able to see the remains of the old wharf. That is so interesting, and it's so cool to see it there. So you had a wharf here, your trade was going on, the ships would come and they would dock right here and they would unload whatever it was that they were trading. And that's the evidence of it. Right there. The wood. That was quite hot, but I'm back in my car because my face is going to melt off, and I might just melt into the ground because it is probably a heat index of 104 right now, so I'm burning up. We're back in the car. I hope you guys enjoyed the tour of Colonial Dorchester. Also, I want to know what you thought of the archaeological bits as well. So those were shot over a period of a couple of months. I came here several times before it got super hot and began doing archaeology with them. I also started kind of volunteering here off and on since 2016. So I've dug on Site 52 several times, and I enjoy looking at the artifacts and helping to interpret the site better. So let me know what you thought in the comments below. What was your favorite part of the video? Have you ever done archaeology, and what are the types of things that you like looking for? Also, what is your favorite period in history? I really enjoy the colonial period and the American Revolution, specifically, like, also just the colonial period, because it's super interesting. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in the colonial period during settlement and stuff, so I find that interesting. I want to know what you think. So comment in the comments below. Let me know what you thought of Colonial Dorchester. Also, don't forget to hit like and subscribe and hit the little bell so you know when I drop new videos. So here's to the next big adventure. I can't wait to bring you guys with me and see what you guys think of the wonderful place that I live in. All right, here's to next time.